Action is truth. Words are meaningless. Precisely how someone treats you is exactly how they feel about you. You have to understand something, that some people were raised only to know how to survive. They were never shown love. So when they enter into a relationship and something happens that causes them to panic, they will immediately revert to that default setting of survival. And irregardless if it destroys the other partner's heart or not, they don't care as long as they survive. But the inherent dilemma with this is that if you are the other partner, the victim, what you need to stop doing is enabling your abuser's behaviors and condoning it, pacifying it, and making excuses for it, protecting it, because then you're just allowing it to continue. It's like I always say, you have to view individuals in the entirety of the panoramic spectrum of their character. Imagine if you took a piece of cardboard and you covered half of a television screen with it. You're only going to view half the picture. So by only seeing the good in somebody or only seeing the bad in someone, you're not seeing the full picture. You're not seeing the reality of the individual. No one can judge anybody because you only judge yourself. But what you most certainly can do is to make an honest assessment of the quality, content, and character of an individual's energies, frequencies, and vibrations in determining whether or not you are consciously choosing to connect with their energy or not. Because when you do, their energy becomes yours and the two become one. So you have to understand something. You should never inconvenience yourself to accommodate anyone else. If arguing has become the default setting in your relationship, perhaps it's time you reevaluate who you're with and why you're with them. Because arguing is never healthy for any relationship. Communication is. And if this individual is communicating to you with physical action or verbal abuse, then this is precisely how they feel about you. Because how they treat you is how they feel about you. Action is truth. It doesn't matter what their words are saying. If their words do not back their actions and they do not align, then you have to go with how they treat you. Because somebody can say they love you and they care for you and they want the best for you, but if their actions speak otherwise, then you can clearly see there's something off kilter. And you have to go with that because you deserve the very best that the universe has to offer. The reason why you enable your abuser is because you don't have self-love. The presence of self-deprecation indicates an absence of self-love. I've said this before in my previous videos. Self-love is paramount. It is the foundation upon which all of your life will be built upon. The remainder of your natural life is built upon that foundation, being solid and flexible. Not sand or a house of cards that's going to crumble the moment the wind shifts direction and everything topples to the ground. You have to convince yourself that you love yourself first and foremost, that you don't need anybody else. Operating under that premise, it's easy for you to bring somebody into your life because now you love yourself. You're not looking for anyone to complete you because nobody can. They can complement your journey, but they most certainly cannot complete you. That's the power of self-love. And then when you truly love yourself, you honor yourself, you cherish yourself, you respect yourself, you value yourself, you give yourself the highest worth. You're no longer seeking validation from external sources. As I've said in another video, not 1 ounce of your self-worth is dependent upon anyone's acceptance or approval of you. You don't need to be liked or loved by others. Give it to yourself. That's where all of this begins. The manifestation process begins with self-love. You have to love yourself because if you don't, then you're just being disingenuous. And then if you go around pretending to love other people, how could you possibly give them something that you're not giving yourself or that you do not have to give at all? Because then you're being phony. Am I wrong? And how can you help other people if you fail to help yourself or if you refuse to help yourself? This is all attributed to unconscious societal programming mechanisms. This is how they get you to destroy yourself and make you think it's a good thing. because it's packaged in such a way that it looks beautiful, aesthetically pleasing, absolutely. But once you open that box, it's a rancid sewer inside. There's nothing being offered to you of a beneficial nature in that package. Even though the outside box is brand new and shiny and pretty and so attractive, it's not. Some people were only trained to recognize survival because they were never shown love in their childhood. So all they know how to do is survive. And when they enter into a relationship as an adult, they're not entering as a physical, mental adult. It's a physical child. It's a physical adult, with the child's brain. That's why they refer to them as a man-child or a woman-child. It can be either way. So you just have to convince yourself that you have to set boundaries. And if those boundaries are broken, it's time to get out, because it's only going to get worse. And if you deceive yourself into believing that you can enable somebody, especially a malignant narcissist who's gaslighting you, into giving them what they want, so in return they can give you love and kindness and peace, the things that you should be giving yourself, you're fooling yourself. Unfortunately, I see it a lot of times where people are in a relationship and the person that is the aggressor is continually abusing the other, and the person that is the recipient of that negativity is like patiently waiting for that person to become the person that they were in the past, that little light that they used to be, and you're wasting your time. There's something that's been out there for quite a few years, and you could look it up, and I would encourage you to do so before I go. It's called the Rice Experiment by a Japanese scientist quite a few years back. What he did was he took the same bag of rice and he washed it and he cooked it and he put it into two identical jars. The same rice, no difference. The only difference is that he labeled one positive and he labeled the other one negative. Now what he did was he showed all of his affection and love and positivity and kindness to one jar, and the other jar he focused all of his hatred, negativity, anger, disgust, dismay, disapproval, all of that. And the fact is that they're the same types of rice, keep in mind. Within less than 1 week, the jar that said negativity was already beginning to mold seriously. And the one that says positivity looked as brand new as if the day he just put it in. Because your energy can be used either creatively or destructively. Because that's what the universe gives you, an unlimited amount of energy to use as you please. This energy is neutral, but once you connect with it, it instantaneously assumes the vibrational intrinsic nature of your soul, whatever that is. And it becomes you. You become an extension of it, and the two become one. So when you take that energy and you utilize it for destructive purposes and you aim it at someone, you're actually destroying them. That's why you could see married couples. One partner looks much older than the other because that is the recipient of the other partner's negativity being transmitted to them continuously. You can see that the person looks far older than their actual age, aging prematurely because of stress that is induced from an external source of negative emotional energy. So to wrap this up quick, if you find yourself in a situation, and it doesn't have to be with a love interest, this could be coming from your family members, because more often than not, they are the most abusive out of all of them. That's why I've learned a long time ago to take the title away from the person and assess them as you would a stranger, and ask yourself, do I want this person in my life or not? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. Just because they are your mother or brother or cousin doesn't give them carte blanche to treat you any way they want. Because if they are just as abusive or even more abusive than a stranger on the street, then you have to distance yourself. Because you don't deserve to be an emotional dartboard or an emotional punching bag for anybody's negativity. Because they can't deal with their feelings and emotions on an adult level. So, in parting, I just wish you the best. And I hope this video allows you to understand within yourself that you deserve the very best that the universe has to offer. You just have to convince yourself of that truth. And that's when your entire life will change. Because then you shift your alignment to a completely different vibrational field of energy, and then you become a vibrational equivalent of that energy, and you activate all of the elements in that vibrational environment. And it has nothing whatsoever to do with any bogus, ridiculous law of attraction, because that is just reptilian garbage that they have been spoon feeding you for years, because that reinforces the lack, loss, and absence mentality. Because how can you utilize a law of attraction if you already have everything? Because then there's no need or necessity to attract anything to you, because I'm whole, I'm complete, I'm one, I don't need anything. But when they convince you that you need these things, that's when you go on the hunt. I've got to attract this. I've got to bring this in. I've got to gravitationally pull this into my existence. And that's nonsense. You have to love yourself. That's where this all begins. Self-love, man. Self-love. That's what it's all about. Why? Because love is the most powerful energy in all of the universe. Amen.